Hi, this is Tamar Hermes, and you're watching the Wealth Warrior Summit, where experts are sharing how to save money, grow wealth, and reach financial freedom. I am here today with Amanda Moxley, and she's an international business coach with over 14 years experience speaking, coaching, mentoring, and building businesses online and offline. Her genius is turning your unique seminar story to find the gold, package it, and deliver it from a place of deep connection through the joy of speaking. Amanda's hosted over seven six-figure events, and she's been featured on TV and print media. And she is greeting us now from Park City, Utah. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, thanks for having me. And I like that Freudian slip on the seven-figure event. I'll take it. Thank you.
Exactly. We're not far away from it, especially in this wealth warrior conversation. We're seeing so many opportunities that those six figures are going to seven figures very quickly.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So I always like to start with this first question, which is, what is your basic philosophy around creating wealth?
My basic philosophy is, it's really like probably what my grandparents would have taught. I mean, it's saving, knowing, being intimate with your numbers and saving and being smart about money and using money as a tool to grow your wealth and also your impact and your reach. So basic, know your numbers, save, and invest.
I love that because it doesn't have to be complicated, and you can go back to old traditional ways and just use some of those simple ideas to really create things. And I think oftentimes we make it very complicated. So I love that it's dialed down. Now, you've had so many clients break through to massive financial success by healing their money story. And I'd love for you to share, how do you uncover the soul root of your money issues?
Oh, that's such a good question, Tamar. Okay, so I would say that really everyone has a money story, but they're unaware that they have a money story. No matter if you grew up wealthy or you grew up poor, or you grew up in middle class, whatever, you have a story, and that there is a soul root, and it's generally tied to your relationship with, I'm going to say, your mother and your father and your roots of your security. And it's also about your worth and your value in yourself, because I think a lot of people equate wealth with value, right? They see it as a way that this is what makes me valuable or not valuable. And so how do you get to the soul root of it? You actually uncover, uproot, and understand, what is your money story? You know, what were my parents' money stories, my grandparents, the family, the culture, the religion, the society, everything that I grew up with? What is it, this inherited money story? And then birth a new money story created on the truth of you actually transforming it. And I don't know, you're a mom, you've given birth, and we know that giving birth is like not an easy thing, right? You don't just like lay there and visualize and the baby's popping out. No, you grow that thing for 9 months, actually 10 months, and then you birth. And you really birth. So you have to birth a new money story in order to become a new person, really transform your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, your attitudes, your actions around money, around receiving, around spending, around investing, around showing up, around getting support, around delegating, all those pieces. So It's really about birthing a new money story and understanding what do you really think money is? I think that money is an alchemical shapeshifter. It has no value except for the value we put on it. And so examine those thoughts, feelings, and beliefs and attitudes and actions you're putting on money. And are they in alignment with who you want to be? So
that's right. Now, I love this. And I love this conversation too, because we know, any of the audience watching, most of them are entrepreneurs, and we know that everything is 80% mindset. And these money blocks, are kind of at the root of what can keep a lot of people from getting to that next level. I mean, there can even be people that are, making millions that have reasons that they want to have more and just can't get past it. So are there I know this is a short interview, but I'd love to give a couple of tips, like quick things that people can kind of start thinking about to kind of start working on that new money story.
Oh, that's so good. Well, I would just start by writing down, what are all your beliefs about money? What are the beliefs you have about rich people, about wealthy people? You know, you might have a thought or a belief about what it means to be rich, or what it means to be wealthy, or what it means to be middle class. Just start examining your thoughts and your beliefs, because our beliefs are as powerful as going to the ocean and holding back the wave and like, you will not crush on me, you know, like, and we're holding back the waves because our beliefs are so powerful. So really examine, what are you really thinking? And a really easy way to do that, Tamara, is the next time you go and circulate money, you go to the store and let's say you go to Whole Foods and you get your, you know, you're like, it's $30 or whatever it was. It's 125 or whatever the number is. I don't care. Or it's a $6, you know, bulletproof coffee, which I love. I go there all the time. And it's just like, how do you feel? And how do you feel when you're circulating money? Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? So notice your thoughts, notice your feelings, and actually just do it in the moment when you're in it. And then start to notice, is that how I really want to feel about money? And then the next step is identify, how do I want to feel with money? If I, you know, millionaire or multimillionaire Amanda, or fill in the blank with your name, if I were a wealthy woman, what would my thoughts be, or male, my thoughts be, my feelings, my actions be?
I love that. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
really creating a new identity in who you are. Another really fun journal exercise I have my clients do is they write down on get a piece of paper, put a T down the middle, and on the left side put old, in my case, old Amanda. And I write all the thoughts, feelings of everything associated with how I've been, you know, my upbringing, and even how I am in business and who I've been. And then new Amanda, you know, or millionaire or multimillionaire Amanda. And then I write all those, like, you know, what is the difference? What is the difference in the frequency?
And do you recommend reviewing that frequently so that it starts to get into your psyche?
Yeah, not just reviewing it, but then great question, from the new Amanda aspect of that page, then you're going to action it and put those new activities into your calendar. So that means you will have your housekeeper come, you'll make that phone call and you'll say, you know, I actually need you to come every day, or I need you to come every week. You know, up it a little bit. I know it's not feasible for everyone to make major big changes, and it may not make sense, but like the little things make a big difference.
That's great. I love that. I love that. The little things make a big difference. Like, be in action. Just look at that list and at least attack something every day to move, to expand yourself and realize, like, okay, I have the cleaning lady twice a week. It's not killing me and it's working. I know that is something that I've definitely been challenged with. And I love that you're sharing that, because I think there's huge breakthroughs there.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And then also these then become new habits. So the next time, I have something really funny to share with you guys. Okay, so this is like me being really vulnerable and hilarious, but maybe I want to share it, like, it's really vulnerable, but I'm just going to be honest with you guys. So old Amanda really likes TJ Maxx. I love the deals you can find there. There's, you know, just like all the fun things you can find there. But I have a friend, she's like, you can't tell people you go to TJ Maxx and act like you're a wealthy woman. And so now she's like, we got to come up with something new you're going to say, because you really can't say that. And I'm like, old Amanda, like, millionaire Amanda doesn't really need to shop at TJ Maxx, but even though she loves it. Okay. Like, I'm being vulnerable, kind of sharing this. So she's like, is there something new you could say? And I was like, how about the next time? Because I'll still want to go there, because I love it. I really do. And I really know exactly my colors and my sizes, all my shapes and everything. I know what I need. Right. But she's like, so I'm like, okay, so here's what I'm going to say. And I'm like, I don't know if I can really lie. But so if you guys catch me saying this, you'll be onto it. But I'll be like, my assistant, where'd you get that? Instead of me saying I got it at TJ Maxx and being with pride, I'm going to say, oh, my assistant found it for me. So I don't know if that helps, but just like actioning new items.
Yes.
Wealthy woman.
I love that. Yeah. And if you need that in your mindset, like, if the TJ Maxx doesn't make you feel as abundant, I mean, I know, you know, I've been known to pick up things at Forever 21, and I am at a point in my life where, you know, I do have that $1 million in the bank, but I still love Forever 21. And I'll never forget, I went to a big event, and the woman, it was Mama Gina, actually, and she was wearing this big fluffy coat, and she was like, I got this at 21 Forever, and she was so proud.
Yeah, totally.
So I love that, though, because I do think that sometimes people do associate, like, that. The reason why that's significant is, like, that was the old Amanda, and that was a way that you were being, and that's what you wanted to shift. So for you, it is important not to do that. But for some people, like, it might be okay. It
Right.
just, but to pay attention to where your beliefs are.
Yes, exactly the whole point. Yes.
Now, I love the releasing generational limiting beliefs. Like these were still, I'm still triggered by growing up poor and by things that come up where I remember that feeling of being poor. So those were the hardest ones for me. So how do you release those generational beliefs about abundance, wealth, and prosperity?
That's good. Well, I think you have to identify them first. You have to understand that these are inherited beliefs. From your culture, your heritage, your ethnicity. It's like, it goes so deep. And
Right.
so it's about understanding that. And then and so for you, especially if it's that close, like what a big shift you've made. If you grew up poor and now you have $1 million in the bank, like that is impressive, like incredible. So I think, for me, what I've done is just really look at all these different money stories and the thoughts and the stories and the attitudes and the beliefs around money that were brought on or I received and lived, and then deciding, is that how I want to live? Because it is really a tribal thing. It's a break in the tribe. Like it's a break in the agreement. No, I'm no longer available to live like this. Now I'm choosing to live like this. And so there could be a break in the contract. I would also say for me, I'm such a spiritual person. So it's just like, I find my identity in who God says I am, not in what money says I am or what money story. So shifting the identity of who you really are. And like you said, you had this, we were talking beforehand and how you live in California and your home was affected by the fires. And the truth is we can't take any of this stuff with us.
Yeah.
When we go. So I would just say, find a new identity in something bigger than you. In my case, it's God. And, I hope everyone's case it's God, because it's like the best thing ever. But, we all have spiritual beliefs, but find a new identity in something bigger than you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Like you don't take it on. That was one of the things for me, like growing up poor. I just thought it's all on me. Like if I can't figure it out, then I'll never be able to, then that's just going to be my life. Now, granted, there's a lot of poor people that are happy, but we know, this is the Wealth Warrior Summit. And we know that, hey, having money in the bank generally beats not having money in the bank.
Yeah.
Every
100%.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you've continually grown your coaching practice over 14 years. What's the key to keeping continuous growth and momentum? It's just this is very impressive, for people to see, how over time, how you just keep scaling and developing and making more money.
Yeah. Well, thanks for acknowledging that. I think it comes down to my slogan, you guys. So, this is my slogan, #JFDI, just effing do it. And it really just comes down very simple to this. It's about making a decision and drawing the line in the sand that, like you said, like there's no way you're ever going back to poverty, and that you know where you're going. So having a very compelling, step one is have a compelling vision and know your why, know where you want to go and why you want to go there. And then number two, make the decision, draw the line in the sand that this is what you're doing, burn the ship. So it's like, there's no other option for me. There's no other option for me. So I'm doing it. And then of course, take action. And then through the action, you then create new habits and new rituals for success. I would also say it's about up-leveling your environment and also your peer group. Mm-hmm. And when you've outgrown a certain group, it's okay to grow and part ways with love and then move forward into a new area of influence, I guess. Always keep your old friends. I have my best friends since kindergarten still. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying just keep evolving, and it's okay. I think it's also knowing your values. Right. For me, one of my top values is growth. It's my core driver. So it's just kind of who you are. And I'm sure most of the people watching this is just how you are too.
Right. That's great. Yeah. And I love the effing do it, because a lot of times, we'll sit and we do a lot of mental work by ourselves and wonder why nothing's happening. And it's like that effing do it is the thing that keeps moving you and evolving, and important for money, for sure.
just taking one action every day, you know, actioning towards your goal every day. And then the other thing is evaluating at the end of the week or even every day. I evaluate at the end of the week a full audit, but then I also evaluate daily. How did I do?
Oh, that's great. Can you share about that? Because that sounds like a great exercise.
Yeah, so I actually use, I'll just pitch this guy. I've never even worked with him, but Brendan Burchard.
Uh-huh. Right.
Brendan Burchard has his high performance habit,
Mm-hmm.
you know, little, what is this called? Planner, guidebook, whatever. And so this is what I use. And I would recommend this. So this is a really good container. It's yellow. I love it. You can get it in all different colors. So I would get that. That's a great tool to start. But before I had his, I would just journal, you know, just kind of I know my goals, I know my targets, and am I on target? And then the other thing is writing your goals down every single day. Before I did this, I just would write my goals 10 times in the morning. Sorry, not 10 times. That'd be fun. 10 goals in the morning, 10 same or similar goals in the evening. So I know my target. Because as an entrepreneur, we have so many ideas and there's so many squirrels and cool things to look at. So I just am like, nope, this is what you're doing. Focus. Focus is very important.
So you write them down. You write down the goals that you're working on to achieve and by when in the morning. And then you write down the same goals at night. Or if maybe one of them's already, you've reached that, then you'll add a new thing on.
Yeah. The other thing I do is I have some 3x5 cards that I read I exercise on my bike every morning. So I read those every morning. And I read those, and then I have my little vision board in front of my bike trainer, and then I see it, and then I write it. So I read it, I see it, and I write it.
I love that. I love that. So you're activating all the parts of you to get into creating that.
Yes.
And that's a great exercise for wealth. So people can write down their 10 money goals and their 10 at morning and night.
Yeah, because if you forget, or it just helps you track, because otherwise you're going to forget, or the kids this and this happens, and I get really out there. So I need to focus. And I think that's really important.
I think we all do. Now, I love that you say there's one thing that keeps you small, scared, and broke. I would love to know what it is, and why is it so hard to stay away from it?
Yeah. And I'm curious, I just want to ask the audience, like, asking that question. I'm curious if anyone has any hits on that. What, like, intuitively, do you know what that really is? So I just want you to kind of reflect on what is that small, tiny thing that keeps you small, scared, and broke? Broke's kind of like a big word to use, but, you know, we're not really ever broken, but, we've had some rock bottom moments in our life, that's for sure. So what I would say is, what I discovered, I have no problem taking action and putting myself out there and hustling and doing, like, my whole motto is JFDI. And what I realized is I would go and I would do these things, and I'd go and I'd ask for these goals, and I'd do all this stuff, and I'd say, you know, I want this, and I'd visualize this, and I made the decision, and I got this coaching, and I did this. But still there was this little voice that'd be like, who do you think you are? And you're not worth it. And this is never going to work. And, you know, you don't deserve it. And all that crap that we have in our head. And I realized it happened a long time ago. I was, you know, those are the thoughts. I was really trying to go for it to reach that first 6 figures in my business about 10 years ago. And I would do all the things, and it just wasn't working. And I would be blocking myself. And I was, you know, putting my then son into bed, and he was maybe a year. And I was, you know, tickling his back and just thinking about how much I love this beautiful child and what a gift he is, and love him. And something just hit me, and I said, you know what? It's my wounded child that is in the way of my wealth consciousness. For me, it was my parents' divorce at age 2 that broke my heart. And I wasn't even aware that I had that until you start your own business. None of this stuff really comes up because you're just going along doing what you're doing. Right. Anyway, so I realized it was my wounded child, that little girl that, like, and I still manage her daily. Like, I did something today and I felt really sad about it. And I was like, okay, who's showing up? And I said, okay, it's Amanda, the 6-year-old is showing up. So what does that little baby 6-year-old need? She's not running a business. She's not making executive decisions. She's not a CEO. And so I just, you know, did the work that I do with her. And then I got back into my CEO mode. So get in tune with that wounded child, and don't let your little 6-year-old or your 2-year-old or your crazy 16-year-old self run your business and your bank account.
Right, right. And it goes back to really like that one thing is really like maybe that like a really big wound, like from different parts in our life. Cause we've all experienced pain. And so getting in touch with that and like not being afraid to just really let yourself out of that mode. Like don't feel like you need to be the victim or that you don't deserve it or that there's something wrong with you. I thank you for saying that, because for me, I know that the biggest thing for me was like, I don't deserve to be the person with money, because not only was I poor, but I was poor in an affluent area. So I grew up in I always say the slums of Beverly Hills, but all my friends were in Beverly Hills. So, I mean, for me, that wound was like, wait, I wasn't born that way. Like they're the ones that are supposed to have the money. I'm not. And I didn't understand.
Right. Makes sense. And the thing is, like, little children, our subconscious mind is all we have until age 7. So we're just sponges. At age 7, the conscious mind develops. So you make up these stories, and it's like, you know, in my work, like we were saying, like I read people's stories, and we've been traumatized. Like this life is not easy. And then it's like, but we have to have the discernment to understand that is not who's running our business or who can dictate if we have money or not.
Right. Right. And then you see what's on the other side, which is that, you know, you can live like now, you know, I talk about, you know, wow, like being able to just go out to dinner whenever I want, travel whenever I want, do whatever I want. And I think to myself, oh my God, like how did this happen? You know, like, cause I was in that go, go, go. And it's just, it is, you know, every once in a while it comes back where it's like, oh yeah, like I had to get through this to get to this part.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. That core identity would come back and represent itself. Yeah, I know.
Now, yeah. Now, since the Wealth Warrior Summit is also about, you know, saving money and growing wealth, I would love to hear, how do you manage your financial piece of, you know, having to deal with taxes, how much do you save? What strategy do you use to make sure that, you know, you're still operating? Because we know, I mean, we all hear about it all the time, not only people that hit their first 6 figures, but people that are making millions of dollars that are broke.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to have a good accountant. You have to have a good CPA. You have to be intimate with your numbers, and you have to know like forecasting. If like I am very clear. So just, you know, basically what I do is I have my accountant tell me what is my payroll, what will I be paying, this is the forecast, and then I plan for it, and then I save quite a bit. There's a percentage I tithe 10% to the church I go to, because it feels really good. And then at that same time, so I tithe on that every Sunday, and then I also tithe to myself. So I do 10% for myself, I do 10% for my church, and then I'm always I've actually just taken my taxes as a monthly bill, and that's just a monthly expense on my outflows. So
That's great.
Yeah. So it's part of it.
Go ahead.
But it's not so. I didn't learn that. I learned that the hard way of getting hit with really big tax bills. But here's the thing: I remember when I first started my business, and I would get money back, and I would go to my accountant, and I'd be like, I cannot wait till the day I get to pay taxes. It's gonna be amazing. And then, you know, I really am grateful that I get to pay taxes. I know.
Right. It's a good problem to have, right? I mean, in a way, like you think, I always say, like, well, would you rather have $100,000 and give 40,000 away, or just make 20,000 and only have to pay 2,000 in taxes? It's just, you know, it's just part of the way it goes. I love that. How often do you meet with your accountant or review where your numbers are?
So I have a bookkeeper, and so I meet with him once a month. And I have a bookkeeper, then I have the accountant, the CPA as well. So monthly, but I'm a pen and paper person. So, I mean, I'm like, this is like hilarious chicken scratch. You guys can't see it, but every day I look at my bank account, and every day I'm looking at what went out, and I check it off. You know, I check off what went out. So I'm very intimate. That's a very important thing, is to be intimate with your numbers. You could put alerts on your phone if there's bills that exceed it over 125, just so I'm aware of what's going out. So I'm very intimate with those numbers. You got to know how much your personal life is, your business life is, your taxes are, your marketing, lead gen, all that stuff, how much that is. And you have to, and then save money as much as you can. Because I think it's easy to want to like go and spend money once you start making money, and it's fun. But at the same time, I would rather have money in my bank than have a nice Chanel, which I just saw in Florida last week that I want, but I didn't buy it because I like taxes are coming and I will get hit with one.
Right. I love that. I love that. And it's so important, in terms of growing the wealth, is really looking at your numbers no matter where you're at. And I love that you share that, and even that you can just do it on a piece of paper. It doesn't matter as long as you're looking at it and understand what it is and getting intimate with it. So I thank you for all your sharing, all your books, and that people can take that away. Here's this, here's that.
And I do have a spreadsheet too, just so you know, I am of the 21st century. I do have a spreadsheet too. I just like pen and paper.
Now, let's talk about, you talk about saving money, and curious what you do as far as investments. Do you own properties? Do you believe in the stock market? What do you do to make money on your money that you're saving?
You're going to love it. My number one asset, you're looking at her right here. I invest in myself. I invest. I will tell you what I do strategy wise too, but I do invest in myself. In fact, because I'm my ultimate ROI. I mean, I'm like the golden goose right here, Amanda Moxley right here for my family. So I continuously invest in myself. We looked at the numbers. I mean, I thought I looked at the numbers overall over the last 9 years, and I've invested 17% into my personal growth to get coaching, to learn. So that's been a huge investment for me, big time. A lot of people, they'll say, go to Harvard or go to some big school or something. But I mean, I have a master's as well, but my parents gave me all that stuff, and now it's my time to invest in me. But what I have found is that there's a thing called Be Your Own Bank. Are you familiar with it?
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, and so what it is,
I've heard of this.
So it's basically this insurance that you buy, and I know it's controversial and it's not on Main Street, and most people don't do it. In fact, I believe your fellow speaker talks about it. It's in his book, What Would the Rockefellers Do?
He does, yeah, Garrett Gunderson.
Yeah, and so that's what I do. So I got tipped off onto this, and so what it is you have a percentage that you put away to this. Is it called Whole Valley Life Insurance? I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Whole Valley Life Insurance.
Uh-huh.
Cash Valley, Whole Valley, something. It's a high value. I should really know the name, but my bookkeeper helps me, and then I have another person that helps me with it. So I do that, but I can borrow on it. Let's say I have a really big tax bill. I can borrow on it, and then I can also borrow on it, and I can put money into it. And so when I take it out, I pay tax as it goes in, but not when I'm older. When I'm in maybe a bigger tax bracket, I'm not paying tax on it as I take it out. And I can put money in for my college. I can open them up for my kids so they have their college educations. So that's what I do.
And what does the money do that's in your own bank? Is it invested, or is it just kind of sitting there to kind of use and move?
So that's a good question. I believe from what I remember her telling me, and what I believe and trust, is that it has compound interest and it grows at 4%.
That's great. At least, you're backing off inflation, and you don't have the risk of losing the money, which is always, something that people need a certain amount of education to understand how to really invest in such a way where they keep their money. Plus you need your cash flow because you're investing in your business constantly, and you have a very profitable business. So it is a big asset. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's great. Okay, good. That's great information. There's so many ways to do it. That's why I love this summit, because you hear all kinds of ways that people are investing and looking at money and the way that they work with it. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Let's talk about over 14 years. We're talking about a lot of wins. I'm talking about how successful your business is, which it is. But we know that, like you said, not every day is great. So can you talk about a few setbacks and what you did to overcome them?
Oh, sure. I have so many. And you really learn from those. This is So I would say one of the, what is the big, I think my very first event I did was in 2013, and it was a huge event. I think it cost me about 40,000, which was a lot of money for me to
A lot of money
invest.
for anybody, I think.
Yeah. Right. And I invested on myself. You know, I had been speaking at another friend's event and I was like, I want to do this. So I hired a $20,000 event team. It was like sheer adrenaline and fear. It was terrifying to go to that next level. I didn't even know if anyone would show up. And then when everyone did show up, because of course they did, but that wounded child was in the way. And I was like, no, it's good, you know, and they show up. And I was just, it was just too much. Like, I felt like I grew too much. And then I made 150,000 in those 3 days.
That's great.
And I think I just wanted to shrink. And I was like, I'm scared. I don't like all this pressure, all these people. And my assistant, who had been my right-hand person, who helped me grow my business from basically 50,000 to over 300,000, she quit the Thursday before the event started. I believe did it start on Monday? Yeah, it started on Monday. She quit on Thursday. So of course I just triggered all my abandonment issues and blah, blah, blah. So it was terrifying. And then there was there was that. And then I learned from that, sometimes you have these big goals and you want to be really big, but you have to grow your leadership and you grow your team as you grow yourself. And so I realized there was a lot of expansiveness, but then the cycles and seasons of contraction.
Right.
So then I spent some seasons really beating myself up because there I was, and now I felt so scared. And then we sold our house in 24 hours and we expanded into our dream house. And then it was like, can I maintain it? You know, this is way bigger than my family, you know, that whole thing you were talking about. And my dad saying, are you sure you can afford this? And for Utah, it's really not a lot. And so it's just like, so I think doing it over again, it'd be being more humble. I think I had a lot, like a lot of us, you know, a lot of us do. We have a lot of, I think I'd be more humble and not so, I think there was a lot of ego and a lot of push and a lot of drive. And I think that got me in a really great place, but ultimately you fall. And so now I'm in a really good, humble, really good place, a team and life, and it feels good. I learned a lot.
That's great. Now, was there ever a time where, because when you had said, I invested $40,000 in an event, I just like completely got like my whole body contracted. I was like, wow, that's a lot. And, being in this space, like I know what it's like to get butts and seats. So I can only imagine like that is, that's really going big. Now, was there a time where you ever invested? I mean, obviously that worked out and you made, you made your money back and then some, so it was perfect. But is there a time where like you've done, where you went big on a Facebook ad and then you completely tanked, or, where you lost some money and you had to deal with like that feeling of like, oh shoot, I just lost money because it didn't work?
So I guess my mentality is to take 100% responsibility. I don't mean to deflect from that, but when I get taken down, I just say, how am I responsible? Because I know that's a really key to success. Like, and every single failure is I fail my way to success. And that was a very important lesson. I've invested in coaching programs where I may not have gotten ROI, but I learned something. So there's been a lot of me investing in things, and I do the work, but it wasn't the right fit. And then, but I never see any of it as a loss because I picked up nuggets. I wasted a lot of money, over those years doing these things. So yeah, there's definitely, but I make really good business decisions. That's my affirmation.
I love that. And but I love hearing also that, that you have had investments in your business where you didn't get the ROI and you just keep moving through it and you look at opportunities for it, not as like, you don't let it crush you and take you down. You just look at, okay, I'm responsible. So what can I do? Or what can I take away from this? And it's just so important, I think, because I think, money is scary for a lot of people. And I think that, we worry about having enough and we worry about taking care of our family, and it threatens our very survival. So I love that you have a freedom around, like, obviously you didn't spend your last dime investing in like, if you didn't have the money in your account, you probably wouldn't have put like $60,000 and maybe you would have done 10 or something.
Yeah. Well, I've done some crazy stuff like that. Like I had two, if you want to, I had a story where I dropped my savings down to $200.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I mean, because I do know that I have mommy and daddy that if I really, and I could call them at any moment and they'd
That's
help me.
beautiful.
I know, and I'm blessed in that way. But at the same time, having that safety net, not that having that is actually not, now I burn that. I'm like, done. I don't need it. No, not healthy. But I knew that if I really fell, which I did at that time, I had to ask my mom to help me pay our mortgage back in 2011. But for me, it's like I had to create this drama. That's where this whole book came from. This, the gift I'm going to be giving you guys. I had to like create all this drama. I mean, it was all unconscious, but I had to create all this drama so that I would then finally get in my power and be the person I was born to be. So I drained my savings to the $200. It was terrifying. I went to yet another event and with the 200, and at that event, I put $10,000 on my Amex. I love Amex. I say it was my original sponsor. And then,
Love that.
And then I got the coaching and I finally got my power. I raised my rates to 5,000. I created an incredible package. And then I went and I sold 54,000 in the next 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I made the shift. And then within 6 months, I made, or 9 months from that time, I made 6 figures. So, and then there was another time about a year and a half later, this is, I literally drained it down to $36. 36. It's ridiculous. Okay. Like talk about living on the edge. And I'm the primary kale winner of my family. So but the thing is that time I was like, this is ridiculous. This is drama. I have a master's degree. I am so smart. I am this, I'm that. What am I doing to myself? I'm like, I am done with this. I am putting a fork in it. I'm ending this money drama. And out of that, then I had like a 5-figure day the next day. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like laughing at it. I was like, I am being so stupid, sabotaging myself. And it hasn't been like that dramatic since.
That's great. But the idea is that like, you have to be able to go into your journey. You have to effing do it. To get there, whatever that means for you. And I love that. I love that you're willing to share that. And, you were willing to invest so much in yourself and believe so much in what you were out to achieve, that you're willing to, go, to put yourself in that situation. That's just beautiful, because that's sometimes what it takes to go there.
That's what it took for me. Like a lot of comfortability and a lot of cushion wouldn't pull out my greatness. Like I had to like scare the hell out of myself, but I don't recommend that for everyone. Okay? And I don't think when I look back now, 10 years or 9 years later, I don't think I would have done that if I hadn't had my mom and dad, knowing they're just a phone call away. And you know what I mean? Like I'm blessed in that. And I'm very grateful for their support over these years.
That's a really great point that you you felt like you had that net. Like I know for me, I like when you said that, I was like, oh, I'd never do that, but I didn't have parents that I knew could, that I could fall back on. So for me, those are choices I wouldn't make, but we're all like, nothing's right or wrong. It's just the way we were brought into the world, and it's all like part of our money story. So, I have a friend that had always been supported by her parents, and she is still stuck in a money story where she is always broke and feels like she can't do it without her parents. So it's great that you use that as a crutch, but you were able to plateau and create it for yourself. Like she's still stuck, and she's, in her early 50s to get to that other side. So it's interesting, like how we're just on our journey and to make it okay.
I think like there's a chapter in my book called Rich Dad, Poor Daughter.
That's good.
And there is a point where like, if there is it can be a cap, it can be like, well, you're going to get this inheritance, so you don't really need, just do what you're told to do and you'll get this. And that is like, it really keeps you powerless. And then you are used as this little puppet, but it's really bad. And I know not everyone has that story, but I speak to it because when I finally burned that bridge in 2017, I just got in my power, and I was just like, I don't care if I even get an inheritance. And I took my power back. I know it sounds so vulnerable to share these things, and hopefully I still want the inheritance. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's vulnerable to share these things, but at the same time, you have to get in your power. And I think that it's a disservice for parents to not give because learning to make money is a skill and it's an empowerment, and to make money, keep money, lose money, invest money, like it's a really important life lesson that you have to embody. And a lot of people will deny it or not look at it or think they don't, you know what I mean? Like this is essential to life skills. So I'm not going to.
What you're sharing so honestly, because the truth is that, you know, we make, like, somebody might be listening and be like, well, Tia, she's got an inheritance. Well, look, you know what? My friend has an inheritance and she's not able to make her own money. She wishes she had my life because she feels like I was hungrier. And that's why I never was without money, because I didn't, you know, so it's all like what you make of it, right? It's all what you create. And it's all like how we're brought here. We don't know the reason why, you know, some people are born with the parents that they have. But the important thing I love is what you're talking about, is go in, look at it and embrace it and see what you can get out of it and release it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I think too, like if I had, because you hear any successful entrepreneur, you hear their story. They came from broke. They were dyslexic. They came from broke. They came from challenges, poverty, dyslexia. It wasn't handed to them. There was a lot of adversity. And I think that I'm grateful, whatever, but I just want those of you who might be in my situation to take your power back, and you're bigger than that. And it's about who you're becoming. That's the whole point. It's like personal growth. It's like who you're becoming. The money is just a reflection of who you're becoming. And it's an added juicy bonus to you living your life at large, being the person you're meant to be.
Right. So I love ending with this question, which is, bringing it back to financial freedom. I've gotten so much out of hearing experts share their answers to this. And what does financial freedom mean for you?
Oh, I love that question. To me, financial freedom is to be able to do what I want, when I want, hire who I want, have the team, have the family, travel, be able to have all the benefits of life and really give back, you know, be able to, it's not just about me and my survival, but also giving back and leaving a legacy and leaving the world a better place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I love, you know, for me, I mean, it's really been, I love that reflection of what it means, because it's just, it's our right to experience what financial freedom means for us in our life. And so, you know, my hope is that everyone will take something away from these answers and find more about financial freedom for them. It's really great. Thank you. And then,
it doesn't mean even that I think the key is to know how much you need, being intimate with those numbers, and how much you want to retire and live the life you want. That's financial freedom. It doesn't mean you have to make millions of dollars.
Right.
But you don't want to have, like, you know, you see some people who are retired and they like can't go get a freaking coffee or go to a movie because they can't afford it. Like that's sad. I mean, is it sad? I mean, in the first world, it's sad. It's not sad in other worlds. But anyway, keep going.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, if we live, you know, in a good part of the people watching this and the people that are interested in growing their wealth and having what the financial freedom means for them, it absolutely, you know, we want to be able to go and buy a coffee for $6 at Bulletproof, whatever it's called. I want to go there. I love coffee shops. Now, you've been generous to share a free gift with us and with the viewers, and it's on how to heal your effing money story. So can you share what that gift is?
Yes. So it's a free gift, and it's basically how to release all those limiting generational beliefs, those fears. What is your money story? How to birth a new money story. And it walks you through. It's sort of like I create these guidebooks and people love them. They're cathartic. They're detailed. They ask you questions. You're going to love it. People are like, this is the whole wounded child thing is in the way of the wealth consciousness. It's one of those key pieces that people said I had no idea, and I have no idea this was exactly the little missing thing I was looking for to heal my money story. And not only that, if you've had problems with your relationship with your food, or even with intimacy, with relationships, or even body stuff, all this stuff really fits in. So, you know, who hasn't? We all have those issues. So might as well just get this and start working on one, and then you can move on to the next.
Great. Okay. And there'll be a link on this page where people can just click the link and get access for that. And I can't thank you enough. I really enjoyed this talk. I love to dive into this topic. It's not easy to talk about some of these conversations around money.
Yeah, but I love it. But the thing is, once you start working on it, then you don't want to not, that's the only thing you want to talk about. So thanks for having me and having all of us and hosting this and all your hard work.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Bye, everybody.
Bye.